So the next book, this was a difficult choice whether to include it this time, because it's actually a true crime book. It's how it's described. But in the end, I wanted to tell you about this book if you haven't heard of it. It is called Dancing with the Octopus, The Telling of a True Crime, and it's by an astonishing writer called Deborah Harding, and it came out last year, published by Profile Books. So this is my proof copy. You know I'm always doing this to you. And this is what it says on the front. This book is a warning, a promise, a testament, an act of will, a work of art, a political protest, a radical work, a family memoir, a soul-bearing, an incantation, a mirror, a condemnation, an eyewitness account, a reflection on restorative justice, a balm to the soul, a defence of love, a true story. So the framework of the book is this, that when she was 14 years old, Deborah Harding, and she lived in Omaha, she was going from school across the parking lot in 1978 to her church choir practice. She never got there. A man pulled up in a van. He abducted her at knife point. He threw her into the back of the van. He very seriously assaulted her. He tried to ransom her and then left her bound and tied in the snow to die, really. That is the true crime that is at the back of this book. Now you're probably thinking, why am I sharing this book? Because this sounds a very difficult book to be reading. But actually what the book is about is everything that happened after that, and everything that has made Deborah Harding the person that she is. And there is a really difficult question at the heart of it, that was the most appalling thing to happen to a 14-year-old girl. But what if that was not actually the most traumatic part of her childhood? Because in the end, this is a story of an abusive relationship with her mother. It's a story of the way that she and her sisters were brought up and the way that her father looked away. It's the way in which the attack traumatized everything about her life and influenced everything about her life. And she says this, "They say with severe crimes, there's no avoiding the aftermath. What they don't say is how post-traumatic stress can become a disorder because of your childhood family, the one you're trying to survive. I will now tell you about my childhood. Do not be scared." She is a beautiful writer, and this is one of the things that lifts this from being a terrible and true story, but a story of a true crime, to something that approaching transcendent, beautiful literature. I've really never read anything like it. It is about restorative justice. It's about the fact that in 2003, at the age of 39, Deborah Harding goes to meet the man who had attacked her and discovers, apart from anything else, that he was 17 at the time. It's about over the years, how her body held the trauma and the stress and little by little refused to hide it anymore. So the years that she could not speak, the moment at which she became paralysed and could not walk, the way in which the trauma worked upon her, everything about her, at the same time as her being incredibly successful. She's American, she was in America, she was working to get a senator elected. She came to England, she was a radio producer, she set up her own production company, she met and married an Englishman, had 2 children of her own. So it's the way in which the story and the memory and the trauma comes out. So the book goes backwards and forwards. It isn't linear, because of course trauma isn't linear, memory isn't linear. It is about restorative justice and about what that means. It's about the nature of love. It's about the nature of avoidance. It's about the nature of collusion and the ways in which families keep secrets and hold secrets. It's the way, I suppose, in which families gaslight. But for me, it is the story, the most incredible resilience. It's the story of the beauty and importance of words and language. It's the ways in which Deborah Harding realises that writing this out will make a difference to being honest, finally, not protecting other people, being honest about what happens, and of course the consequence of her telling the story of her childhood, not just this one moment in the parking lot in 1978, but all the moments that had led up to that and how her family react to what happens afterwards, the sense of it never being talked about again, or the suggestion that somehow it was her fault, all of these things. It's about feminism, it's about women's lives, but mostly it's about how humans are incredible, how they can heal. Beautifully written, lyrical, elegiac, and it finishes just at the end. I'm just going to read you a couple more words because I can't really tell you much about it because it's a book you have to experience as well as read. But Deborah Harding finishes, "In writing the scenes in this book, I was reminded of how terrifying we humans can be when empathy ceases to exist. We are only as strong as the human connections we build. Fate doesn't arrive with a personal name, but we make our fates personal by our response to random events." And the last line in the book is, "There is no need now to pretend." It's the most beautiful book, and it's full of hope, and it's uplifting for all of its very dark subject matter, and it just makes you feel, God, what a woman. And I can't wait to see what she's going to write next. Deborah Harding, Dancing with the Octopus, published by Profile.